Welcome to the Healthy Hearts and Guillotines podcast.
Good morning. This is Chessie here, and I'm with Zakeem, who is our health and wellness consultant. This is going to be a tough one this week. This is now the third attempt to record this.
It is difficult because it's so real.
It's real, and it's something that is touching both of our lives in a pretty sharp way right now.
Yeah, like a knife to the throat, but for the last decade.
Yeah.
For me, at least.
I'm right there with you. The last 10 years have not been easy. This week on Healthy Hearts and Guillotines, we are talking about mental health, or how I learned to stop worrying and love the spiders with chainsaws in my brain.
The Gen Z slang edition, I guess.
Yeah.
So many people have a real distorted view of what mental health should be because we have really low lows and really high highs. If we would remember the highest point in our lives, we're like, I want to feel like that. And I'm sorry, impossible. Just get that idea out of your brain.
Well, you can. I mean, the highest point in my life was the one time when I was 16 when I tried cocaine. But I don't need to have that happen. I don't need that every day. That's exhausting.
Bad influence.
Bad influence. Yeah. Incidentally, children, don't do cocaine. It's a bad thing. We're right now facing our own rafts of mental health issues, and we're hoping that through our journey, you can improve your situation. We'll also be giving you some pointers and hopefully helpful tips on how to just manage yourself during the day. Right now, I'm going to admit this is probably going to be a multi-parter.
I have not seen anyone to do a comprehensive video or anything about mental health that will be in an hour, 2, 3. I've done an entire course on mental health on a single illness of mental health, and that took 6 weeks. So
okay, so we have plenty of content.
Yep, we definitely do.
We got lots of content. So let's start with the most basic. What's mental health?
So mental health would be the same thing as normal health. It goes on a spectrum from 1 to 100. 1, you're practically dead. 100, you're probably on some emotional high because you achieved something and now you're celebrating. So you want to be realistically aiming for somewhere in the middle.
Somewhere in the 60s would be a good week.
Yeah, 60s is a good week. We might have been a little bit spoiled, might be a little bit triggering word in this decade, but when we have a really good day or we look at lots of content on the social internet and media and we want to feel like that.
Want to feel like that, we want to be that.
Yeah, and that's just probably not realistic. You're living a different life from the person who you're observing.
Truly.
And you need to make your own life.
And without chemical interventions that are ultimately bad for you, reaching 100 regularly, it's impossible. You won't get the satisfaction from reaching 100. There are different kinds of mental health as well. Someone who is satisfied with their life might be very mentally healthy, but they are not world travelers. They are not ultra wealthy. If they have their actual needs met, however, they might be very mentally healthy.
Yes, I would actually love to talk about the criticized but still useful Maslow's hierarchy of needs and how you really don't need to be anyone on social media, anything like that, to actually be happy and healthy. Well, perhaps satisfied is
a better goal, I think.
Yeah, to be happy all the time is unreasonable because that's not in your control.
I mean, and I'm pretty happy after I have a cookie. That's,
But, eating cookies all the time to feel happy, not...
That's going to lead to me not feeling very happy, and in fact, me sitting on the toilet for a long time. For most of our viewers, again, one of the things we're going to discuss is how to tell if you're doing okay. It's odd to me that people can't tell when they're doing okay, and yet I have also had days, because I am a perfectionist, where I looked around at the things going on in my life and thought, I don't have anything I need to do right now. What's wrong?
Yeah, there's several mental health issues which, yes, are entirely in your head, but not in a write-off kind of way. Even if they're in your head, they're still problems and they're valid and you should work on them. If your apartment isn't being actively flooded, like mine was a few weeks ago, that doesn't mean that you're mentally healthy. Oh, you have a stable job. That doesn't mean you're mentally healthy. Having one is definitely good.
Definitely helps.
Definitely helps not to worry about, hey, am I going to lose my apartment next month?
One element of why my mental health hasn't been the shiniest is that I am a recent immigrant to Lithuania. Haven't gotten a job as such yet. I'm self-employed. I'm building my customer base, but it's a slow thing to do. I will eventually, at least based on my current trajectory, build enough customers that I will be stable here. At the same time, the worries and fears of an immigrant in a place where they don't speak the language terribly well, they don't feel like they are part of the culture, those are going to screw with your mental health.
Yeah, well, it's kind of a sense of subtle and subconscious paranoia that cannot be turned off by just not thinking about it.
Truly. And I want to say again, this is one of a long list of reasons why I am so grateful to Zakim for joining me on this podcast. He's great, incidentally, and this is where I am going to plug Zakim's business as a health and wellness consultant. He will consult you personally on your needs and help you come up with a plan to improve your overall life.
Speaking... Sorry.
But that sense of displacement hasn't left me yet, even almost 6 months into living here. Lately, Zakim has undertaken his own mental health journey, attending a local therapy hospital. I don't actually know how these work. This isn't really a thing in the United States. Going to a mental hospital in the US, they put you in grippy socks, medication to the max. It is not a nice thing to have happen. Tell me about what you have been doing here.
Yeah, so we all have obtained some sort of imprint in our brains from the time when we were kids and raised by our parents, or probably worse off, raised by aunties or professionals working 30 kids at the same time in an orphanage.
Was that what happened to you?
Not an orphanage, no. But I do have an imprint. Not the healthiest, and that's why I went to go ahead and get it fixed. Well, it is an uncomfortable process which you would have to accept if you want to feel better, more satisfied in your life, perhaps even more in control of your own reactions to stimulus, because a good therapist will trigger whatever trauma you have in order to find out more about it and where it came from and the underlying unmet need. For me, it was the need to be actually heard by an authority figure, which is quite difficult when your parents don't have the capacity to meet such needs. Because post-Soviet Lithuania is like, okay, we got financial stuff and emotions.
They're somewhere down on the list.
Probably down to the list where it starts, I don't know,
We've
I don't know, dust?
we've been using that portion of the list in the bathroom lately.
Something like that. So it was actually difficult, exhausting really, but there are a few good things I have to say about the healthcare, which is it actually makes it possible to heal and improve.
Okay. And in your case, you feel like you have been? Wonderful.
It is something akin to living with a knife somewhere in your leg for a few years and then taking it out.
Sounds like it would still hurt like hell.
Yeah, but when you remove the knife and the stitches get put in, you can finally feel like you're moving forward. You're actually improving. You're not stuck in the same old rhythm that has probably put you in some diagnosis of mental health disorders.
Through most of your life, I assume.
Yeah.
That is honestly beautiful, and I hope there comes a day I can take advantage of that as well. I was in the American mental health system since I was very young. The 90s in the United States were an exciting time. I have been diagnosed with everything. And when I say everything,
You mean it.
I mean ODD, ADD, ADHD, BPD, bipolar disorder. Let's see, there were at least three others. Asperger's disorder, autism, and there was one more that I can't remember at this point. Oh yes, I had heart murmur. Now, it turns out if you start a small child who doesn't have mental illnesses at like the age of 6 on a course of heavy, altering psychotropic substances and then leave them there through their entire childhood and on into their teenagerdom, they will act frickin' weird.
They will act weird regardless, but with that, I can imagine it's I'm trying to come up with a word that's stronger than traumatic.
Early on, they started me on a course of Ritalin. And in the course of the next 16 years, put me on 17 different medications. Each time I get a new symptom, I get a new doctor. And
That sounds like the most terrible practice I've ever heard.
the United States. And at the time, there were no regulations on what you could give a child of a certain age. At one time, they had me on Remeron, Concerta, and Clonidine. Clonidine's a heart medication.
For a 6-year-old.
Well, I wasn't 6 at that time. I was 12.
I don't see much of a difference.
Remeron's basically a horse tranquilizer. I took Remeron. I took Remeron for 2 years, and I had never had an issue sleeping in class. Remeron gave me an issue sleeping in class, and I kept taking it until my dad one day was having trouble sleeping and asked me for one because he was having trouble sleeping. I gave him half of one, and he slept for 24 hours. And they went, oh, no, we're not doing this anymore.
It's like, what have I been giving my child?
And the thing was, at the time, he was just doing what all the parents were doing, which was obeying the authority figures and assuming that the authority figures, the child psychiatrists, had the best interests of children at heart. At 16, I stopped taking any medication. And I mean any medication. And all of the symptoms of mental illness that I'd had since I was a child disappeared. I got the autism simulator childhood, so if you were to give a person who was more or less normal, which is, say, not neurodivergent in any way,
Still functional.
if you gave them meth, what would their symptoms be like?
ADHD.
They would stim, they would be restless, they would pick at themselves, they would have trouble socializing, they would be awkward, they would have trouble with their limbs. They would have trouble concentrating. Those are all the symptoms of autism. So you give someone who is not neurodivergent meth, it turns out, yeah, it's not great. Don't do that.
Someone who was previously not eligible to be diagnosed with an illness during a stressful period,
Yes.
and then given medication, and now can be all the time diagnosed.
Yeah, it turns out having your parents go through a divorce, that'll make a kid quite stressed out and restless in class. It's almost like ADHD symptoms, come with trauma too.
They definitely can mimic it.
Yes.
Like you put a kid under stress from, doesn't have to be parents divorcing. It could be so many little things, which of course teenagers just have boatloads of.
Yes. And I went through 6 different schools, 17 different medications, many different psychiatrists. Oh my God, many. While my parents were in the middle of an ongoing divorce, and I was moving back and forth between my mom's house and my dad's house every week. So I'd stay 7 days at my mom's house, 7 days at my dad's house. How is someone going to be normal during that?
I have to say, you look much better than whatever diagnosis I would have read off your patient sheet. I'm like, yo, this person, how are they alive?
This person, I expected them to fully be found behind a dumpster chewing on a hooker's leg. It took a lot of years, and right now, my mental health regimen, I have a lovely therapist who I talk to once a week. I have a good group of friends. I have good partners. And I have a relatively calm life outside of the fact that I look at the news and then it's just screaming razor bees every single day.
Is this the part where we talk about the things one shouldn't do to keep their mental health stable?
Listen to lots of music. You should listen to lots of music. Eat good food.
But try not to base your mental health off of food that tastes great and amazing.
Yeah.
If your life is terrible, no amount of food will fix that.
If you live in what feels like the opening pages of a truly screwed up novel about dystopia from like the mid 2000s, maybe stay off of Reddit.
Less internet in general has been wonderful to me. There was a time where I lost my phone. I didn't lose my phone. I went to repair it, but they lost it in there. They kept it for 2 weeks.
Seriously.
They repaired a small crack for 2 weeks. Best 2 weeks of 2025. I was like, I missed appointments and I was good. I was feeling, I can't do anything about it. It's great. I couldn't find anything I needed to. There was no sense that I'm connected to a sort of mess of emotions that is somewhere outside my body in the phone.
I didn't own a cell phone until I was 37 years old. Just didn't own one. Never had one. And it was at a point of pride that I just didn't have one. I had to get one to start my business. I haven't been okay since I got the cell phone.
It is addictive.
The 2 things that I would say that I absolutely love having the cell phone for. It's a great way to listen to music, and it's a good GPS.
It's a fantastic GPS.
If I could get a thing that would just be a GPS and just let me listen to music, I would get rid of every other function on a cell phone.
So you want a car?
No, I don't want a car. Cars are worse. Cars break.
Okay, you're right.
The mental health journey for me has been largely one of dealing with the political fallout of the events in the United States. Things over there are not going great, and a lot of the Lithuanian listeners will be like, well, how bad could it be? I want you to think of the stories your parents tell about how things were in about 1985 here in Lithuania. we're sort of in the opening pages of that nightmare. That's how things are going over there, and I'm trying to maintain myself. So first things first, I suppose we should give our listeners a little tip on what they can do right now, because I'd say most of them have probably tensed up listening to this.
The last 5 minutes, definitely.
You were teaching me a breathing technique before we came on this morning.
So it is called a physiological sigh. It is 2 breaths in. You take 1 breath to fill your lungs as much as possible. Then 1 more off to top you off. And then just exhale. And just do it like with a nice pause in between breaths for 5 times. And it will definitely make a noticeable difference.
That's really nice. I'm not doing it 5 times on the podcast here because that would be irritating. But I want you to know that I just tried it, and that's really nice.
Yeah, because it is a physiological response that a stressed human isn't going to do this. So when a stressed human does this, the body says, well, I guess you're not that stressed.
You couldn't be that stressed. You don't need to breathe. Breathing is optional.
Yeah, deep breathing is the opposite of anxiety. And breathing exercises, they're free. You can do them anywhere.
Mm-hmm. And if you can't do breathing exercises, you have so many other problems going on right now.
You're either exercising or you're drowning.
Yeah, and either one of those things, one of them is contributing to your health in a really significant way. The other one, maybe deal with that first before you try the breathing exercises.
And bonus, you can't overdo breathing exercises. They are a short-term effect, but there's no limit to the effect. I remember being on a terrible flight where we got delayed and we had to literally make circles in the air because the runway wasn't clear. It's like, okay. Fear of crashing, turn on. And I just kept breathing like that for an hour. And that helped me so much. Like, I guess that wasn't that bad.
That seems like a great way to deal with sort of ongoing trauma.
Yeah, especially in the waiting phase.
Oh, the waiting phase is the worst. I hate anticipation.
It is. Because in anticipation, you're trying to do something, but you can't. There's nothing for you to do.
Nothing you can do.
You ain't the pilot, and you ain't the person trying to clear the runway. Just keep breathing and try to... I'm not going to say make your emotions logical, but try to put them in perspective of what can you do.
What can you accomplish?
Yeah.
Well, this was a good start to this week and to our segment on mental health. Before we close out today, we are, first and foremost, yes, definitely going to have a part 2. Oh my God, going to have a part 2.
Maybe part 7.
We could do a part 7. We'll see what people think and then maybe do a part 7. Before we go, we want to offer you our recommendations for this week for things that you can add to your routine to maybe give you a sense that things can eventually be okay. These are 5 little tasks that you can just add to your wellness journal and try them out. Pick one of them. Wake up with a banana. I know that there are plenty of other things you could eat in the morning. Handful of nuts. You definitely want to have that glass of water in the morning.
Guaranteed.
But wake up with a banana. If you've got a potassium deficiency, you will notice a difference really quickly.
And if you don't, it's still a healthy snack and much better than half the things you Americans eat.
You really gotta come for me like that. All right, so...
Number 2. To know your emotions is the first step to being actually able to do something with and about them and to trace where they're coming from, what kind of needs you have that are unmet. Which is why doing emotional journaling is just absolutely vital.
So take 10 minutes. each day, just for this week, to list your current emotional state. What are you feeling? You don't need to go through the why or the how. Don't write what's going on. Just make a list of the specific emotions. And you don't have to take more than 10 minutes at this. 7 days, that's all. We were talking about deep breathing here and breathing exercises.
Yep, that's number 3. It is simple. Cannot be cheaper. You cannot.
It's nice. If you have some air, you can use the air for this. Take 2 minutes to close your eyes and take deep breaths. How did you want to structure these deep breaths?
We can do the physiological sigh, and we can also do a different one that's 3 seconds inhaling, 3 seconds holding, and then 7 seconds slow exhale through the mouth. And then when you're done, you can slowly start to intake air again and repeat the whole cycle. And closing the eyes actually helps for the reason of when you're stressed and anxious, you're looking for a reason to be stressed and anxious. If you're on a bus and you're anxious about something which you're not putting out in words or emotions, you're going to see a random stranger on the bus like, that's the reason I'm stressed. But it's not, and you're going to make another reason why you're stressed. So by closing your eyes, you're eliminating the search for the stressor.
It's a good method. I find when I close my eyes, I can't see tigers.
That's just a fact.
And so far, the tigers haven't gotten me.
Yeah, so perhaps it's not tigers, but something else.
So number 4 on our list here is just this week, if you are able, take the stairs. Skip the elevator if you can. Stair walking is genuinely excellent cardio and pretty low impact.
And you will find stairs so often everywhere. It's hard to come up with an excuse to skip all of them.
Truly. And that little burst of cardio gives you good, happy endorphins. Maybe you need those today.
I mean, I would say you need those every day. The more your muscles move, your muscles are literally an organ that makes happy hormones. So if you're feeling bad, maybe you need to go for a walk. That helps me every morning. I'm not joking. I just go outside like, I guess I can take on the day today.
I can handle this. It's fine. Last thing on our list here. I want you to think of several small but meaningful tasks that would improve your mental health, or at the very least, prevent it from getting worse. Try to just come up with 3.
It doesn't have to be giant. Maybe your sink is really full with dirty dishes. Maybe there's a few wasps and you're wondering where the hell they're coming from.
Recognizing the tasks that exist and taking a moment to separate yourself from them and put them sort of in mental buckets, that's a worthwhile activity to start to make your life feel less overwhelming.
And you will feel bit by bit more in control of your life, and that's just the step to self-actualization.
I want to thank you for joining us this week on the Healthy Hearts and Guillotines podcast. We haven't done terribly much in the realm of politics. We might do a little bit more of that next week.
Oh boy.
Looking forward to it. But I want to say that I appreciate everyone who's taking time out of their day to make their lives a little bit better, however they're doing that. And Zakim, did you have anything you wanted to add?
It will definitely not feel like you're improving, but if it's getting harder as you're trying more, maybe you're going in the right direction.
Yeah. If there are, if you're going in the right direction, you're probably hearing boss music.
The more enemies you come across, well, that's how you know you're going the right direction in the game.
That is true. All right. Thank you for your time this week. This is Chessie signing off.
And this is Akeem signing off.